This morning, I'll be talking on this controversial topic, VAT and tax. Now, what is VAT? VAT is a consumption tax levied on every goods and services at every stage of supply chain, from production to the point of sales. Tax is an income tax paid to the government by every worker that earns income. Tax is a financial obligation from your employer to the government. Yeah. Now, as a foreign national that is paying tax in a particular country to the government, that tax does not earn you the right to free education and free healthcare. Free education and free healthcare is the right of every citizen of that country. So if you want to enjoy free education and free healthcare, you go to your country, because you don't even need to pay tax for you to enjoy these things. These are your constitutional rights in your country. So thinking that because you pay tax and VAT in South Africa, that gives you the right to free healthcare and free education, you are mistaken. Every foreign national in South Africa has no right to free healthcare and free education, regardless of whether you pay tax or not. You are not doing the government a favor by paying your tax. No. Your tax is simply an obligation, the obligation you have or to the government of that country on goods that you consume, on the electricity, on the road, on the security, the things that you enjoy in that country. Your tax goes towards maintaining those things. So it does not earn you the right as a citizen. It does not earn you the right to enjoy what the citizens of the country enjoys. So let's not bring confusion around this topic. Don't begin to think, oh, because I pay tax, and then you can go to the hospitals and start fighting with the locals and say, oh, I pay tax in this country, I have business. No. Your tax does not earn you the right to free healthcare and free education. You can't become a South African citizen just because you pay tax. This is what I have to say this morning. Let's educate ourselves. Let's stop behaving like uneducated fools. Being an Africa is not a cause. You don't see a British going to the United States to go and protest for service delivery and say because they are paying tax. You don't see Americans going to Europe to go and protest and say we are protesting. Why is it that it's only in Africa we do all this? And I'm urging the government to ban the right of every foreign national that protests in South Africa and make it a criminal offense. Let them be charged with public nuisance. You have no right to protest and begin to threaten the locals and say, if you fight us, we'll fight back. In which person's country? In which person's country? You have no right to protest in South Africa. If you want to protest, go to your embassy. You have a representative there from your country. Go there and go and protest there. Don't come to the streets and begin to constitute public nuisance, disturbing the peace of everyone. You see foreign national in South Africa everywhere constituting nuisance, doing riot, fighting. This has to stop. We don't have the right. If the citizens say it is time for you to leave our hospital, don't bring your tax issue up. It is time for you to food tech. Leave that place. They own the hospital. They own the school. If their children cannot study in their country, our children cannot study also. If they will not have access to their own health facilities, we shouldn't have access to it. So they must be placed in school first. And if there is any space, then a foreign national child can also be registered in that school. I think the government should change the law around these things. South African child first. And if there is any space by any miracle, because it is unfair for a tax-paying citizen to go to a private school, go and pay 6,000 rands per month for their child to be educated. Why the child of a foreign national is enjoying the free education? It is never done in any country. Go and do your research. And don't think that the locals, they will stand by and watch you educate your child while their own child has no space. It is not done. Let us be understanding. The facility is not enough to go round. The government did not build any facility after apartheid. Schools and hospitals were not built. What they have then is what they still have, but the population have increased.
I'm with my friend Balthazar from Spain, and I'm here to interview him how's life like in Africa, especially here in South Africa, for him and for the people that he sees around. Hi Balthazar. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. Yeah, can you introduce yourself to the people and tell them where you're from?
I came from Spain, south of Europe, very close to Africa, North Africa. So I'm here I'm a journalist, and I'm traveling. I'm writing about the culture and all the things like politics, economics, and all kind of things in every country that I travel. In this case, in South Africa, I bought my motorbike to travel and ride all across the country with the motorbike. Now they are fixing my battery, and I'm very happy to be here. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting and very huge country, because I realized how huge is your country when I arrived here. Because I thought it was really small or something like that. So now I'm heading south. I came from Johannesburg, I came from Drakensberg. I was hiking, I was trekking in the high mountains. Now it's time to east, south coast, going to the Cape, and going to Cape Town as well, to spend my 3 months here because of my passport. I only have 90 days.
Alright. So how's life like for people here in South Africa? For you, how they treat you?
People in South Africa is very kind. They are always very helpful. Try to always smiling. They are always try to share with me the culture, the language. I stand in Soweto because I arrived in the airport. I was directly in Soweto because I want to check how the local people live. It's not Johannesburg. Johannesburg is plenty of Western people, not only white people that came from the colony, but a lot of expats that lives in Johannesburg. But that's why I was in Soweto first, and I was checking how people live. It's very kind, very helpful, and very funny. Very funny. And really very good. It's like the kind of life.
Alright.
It's very different compared with the Western life.
Western life. So tell me about the people in Spain. How are the people being treated, especially Africans in Spain? Are they treated differently, or everyone is just equal?
Yeah, good question. Yes, we have a lot of immigrants that came to my country in the last 40 years from the north of Africa. We are very close to Morocco, so we have a lot of Moroccan people living in my country. We respect the Muslim culture, came from Morocco and Algeria people. But after that, in the last 25, 30 years, people from the south of South Africa, people from Mali, Congo, Somalia, and many people from Zimbabwe came to my country for working. They are immigrants. So sometimes the majority of people in Spain and Europe, we protect the people and we take care of them and we try to give them the papers. But there are people that are a little bit racist with black people, not only with black people, with immigrants. In my country a little bit, but in Austria and Germany, there are racist people. So this kind of people is not a lot, maybe the 5% of the population don't like that immigrants coming from Africa come to Europe for working and take the legal papers. So this is a situation now that there are some parties on the very right-hand side that talk not good things about the immigration from Africa. But the rest of the people, 90% or 95% like me, we are very kind with the people, with the immigrants. We try to help them. They work a lot. They pay their taxes in our countries, so they are like me because they pay their taxes and they look for a better job compared with their countries. So it's the balance of the situation now.
Like I said, as you can hear from the men in southern Spain, alright, immigrants are being treated as just better as everywhere. So you guys have to don't worry about it. If you want to visit Spain, you can go, you are free. Legally, you'll be treated just normal as everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you.
Alright.
So, the topical issue has been illegal migrants, the Bill of Rights, the right to health, and everything. My take on it is that there are two things that I think we fundamentally need to understand first. The first one is the context of our constitution. So the common South African sentiment of illegal migrants will not find expression or good outcomes in our courts because the way, the context that our constitution uses. The second part is the footing of the bill. And that's something that I think even our courts and our Chapter 9 institutions like the Human Rights Commission do not necessarily understand. So let's start with the context. The first thing about the context is this. Remember, in South Africans, non-whites were not considered citizens during apartheid. So you could live in South Africa and not in a Bantustan, but we were considered a citizen because of your ethnicity of a particular Bantustan. So I would be Motswana, even if I don't live in Bophuthatswana, I live in the Transvaal, I was born there, I've never been to Bophuthatswana, I would be considered a citizen of Bophuthatswana. But as a citizen of South Africa where I actually live, I would not be considered a citizen. So that's why our constitution starts by saying South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. But when it was written, there were certain contexts that did not exist. The issue of illegal migration, for an example. Secondly, there's something else that we need to understand as we interpret the Bill of Rights, is that interpreting it is nice, like the Human Rights Commission is doing, giving everyone rights. We have the right to education, we have the right to what? But all of these rights are paid by someone. There is nothing for free. Someone foots the bill. So let's go to March and Operation Dudula and preventing foreigners to access healthcare. Let's start with the following fact. In many of the places where these foreigners come from, illegal foreigners, before you even travel to those places, there's someone who was contacting me about traveling to Uganda. They need to pay for a medical certificate. That means that is going to, or medical insurance rather, that is going to cover them in case they have any medical problems in Uganda. So, someone foots the bill for them being there. Aaron Motoledi also gave his own experience by being in, I think it was Kenya or something. Literally, there was someone with a speed point next to him, as and when the medicine was taken out, who was swiping his card. In many of these countries, including Nigeria, even in Zimbabwe, by the way, in Nigeria, there's no free healthcare. You pay. So they pay where they come from. But in South Africa, it's supposed to be for free. I wonder what is free. Is it that our nurses are volunteering and our doctors so they don't get paid? What is free? Is it the medication? Is that free? What is free? I mean, the medication, where does it come from? From thin air, from voluntary factories. I mean, someone pays for it. The government does not provide it for free. Even with us as South African citizens, we must understand this fact that it is not for free when you go to the clinic. Someone is paying. We are paying taxes. Companies are being taxed. Revenue is being collected by SARS. That is what is footing the bill. There's nothing for free. Now, it's not about human rights, this thing. It's about costs. Human rights cost. And RDP costs. And someone is paying it. I, as a South African citizen, am proud that I'm paying taxes. Why? I am a beneficiary of the system. When I did not have work, I used to go to a clinic where I got this medication without paying. It was not for free, but someone was paying for it. And who was that person who was paying for it? The person who was paying for it is a working class South African. It's a South African company. Someone was paying. So today, when it's my chance to work, when it's my chance to pay, I pay freely. I pay with an open heart. Why? It is a solidarity. It is a system. We, those who are working, those who are rich, those who are having companies, pay so that our government can at least take care of those who do not have. Now, foreigners are not taxed. That's one thing people don't understand. Even those who are legal, by the way, in certain instances when I was working, there was a foreigner I was working with. He was not taxed. He got his payment just like that. But you know when he got sick, what happened? He went to the clinic. He went to the clinic to get free things, but he's not taxed. So if we're going to entertain the issue of human rights, let's tax them. Let's tax even those ones that are selling magwenya at the corner. Those foreigners, let's tax them. Let's find a way of taxing them. But the contradiction becomes, how do you tax someone who's not legal? They're not legal in the country. We don't know who they are. Let's tax them. But how do you do that? So those are the things that I think, as our Human Rights Commission says, everyone has the right to healthcare. They must think also about the bill. Who's footing the bill? If they foot the bill, they will even create more employment. We'll be happy. We can create more hospitals, and then they can also enjoy. But people must pay tax because there is nothing for free. And it is not wrong for South Africans to raise this issue sharply. What is wrong is our government not responding to it sharply. What is wrong is the rampant illegality that happens even with illegal migrants. That is wrong. When you come to South Africa, you must behave. You must be able to go according to the laws of the country and enjoy it. We're not saying that we don't want foreigners in this country. We want people who are here legally. We want people who are going to pay tax, who are going to create jobs, who are going to create fellow entrepreneurs. And we also know the fact, the other thing that people don't talk about in conclusion of this video. What is the opposite of xenophobia? Foreigners, there are those foreigners who have a deep-seated hatred for South Africans. They'll tell you, oh, South Africans are lazy. Oh, South Africans are this. What is that anti-South African sentiment? What is the term for it? Because when South Africans are anti-foreigners, it's called xenophobia. But what is the opposite of xenophobia? We should be objective when we look at all issues. But most importantly, academics and those in the middle class must stop talking on behalf of the poor South Africans and go and understand their lived realities. Because the fact that I always say is that now I don't know Nigerians living in the ghetto. They live there in the towns. So they are not really in social cohesion with our people. When these people look at us, many of them, they look at us as customers, as people who can pay them money, as people that they can make money from. So we need to have an objective view and stop hitting us with facts to say what percentage. Yes, we know that our system is broken, but to have an additional burden on the system, it breaks the system even more. So that's my view on it. I call it Tloya Lebohang.